everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today I want to talk to you guys about a grounding system that I've been using in my hi-fi. It's from a company called Kojo Technologies, and it is essentially, I've been sent two of these from Ian at Lux Audio in Melbourne. So if you're interested in these after I talk to you about them, I'll leave a link in the description below for Lux Audio, and you can contact Ian. He's a lovely guy, and he'll be only too happy to talk to you further about these, and you may well be able to demo them. Look, I'm going to say straight off the bat, I've done pretty much everything that you need to do in a hi-fi setup to eliminate any ground issues. I've got three separate 20 amp lines on hospital grade receptacles in this room, one each for my monoblocks and one supplying the Plexar 3000 power conditioner that's behind me. And if you turn my system on and you put your ear up to the tweeters or the mid-range and you listen, you can't hear anything. It's absolutely silent. So I was a bit skeptical about just what this system would do. Now I have two of these. Not sure where the other one is. It's over there. Ian suggested that I put two in my system, so one on the left channel and one on the right channel. So these come as obviously you can buy them singularly or you can buy them as a pack of two. They come with a couple of different connectors. There's a spade and spade, which we can see there. So you can connect this to a terminal on your speaker and have one on each speaker, which is a possibility. Or there is this setup, which is spade to RCA. So these are the, I use both, and I'll talk to you about exactly where I tested these in my system. And they are, it is not a huge item, and there are layers of different metal compounds in this with a 0.5 millimeter gap between each one. Stainless steel screws on the back, and if you look at it, you've got here, I'll get up to the camera. You can add a second one via this through a loop arrangement, or here you can see that this comes from your equipment. So from here out to wherever you're putting these into your system. So the way I did this is I tried them. First of all, I tried them on each monoblock. So I've got an XLR and an RCA input on my monoblocks. I was using the XLR. So in the RCAs, I had these in the system. And if the observant amongst you might have seen that there were two little silver boxes sitting on top of my monoblock amplifier some time ago. And that was the first phase of the testing of these. And then from there, I went out to the speakers and I put them into the terminal on the negative terminals on my Wilson Alexias and listened to them there. And then I spoke to Ian, and I've been talking to Ian as I've been going through the testing process. He's been keeping up to date with what I've been doing. And then I put them in the final position, which was into my Vitus preamplifier. So just an unused set of RCA inputs, one on the left and one on the right channel, and that's essentially what I was doing with these. And I played 3 shorts last night in that final testing position, just to give you guys a listen to them in the system. So what did I find? So let's talk first of all about, as I said, I came to this with a degree of skepticism because my system sounded amazing as far as I was concerned, and many others have agreed. And I thought, well, what is this really going to do? You know, how's this going to improve anything any further than the steps that I've already taken? because I do believe in all those little 1%ers. They add up to a general overall improvement in your presentation. So when I first put them into the amplifiers, I was doing some in and out testing on the same track, and I could hear something changing, but I wasn't sure exactly how to put my finger on what it was that I was hearing and whether I liked it or not. That was the other thing. I wasn't sure if what I was hearing I liked. So I kept doing that for about, I suppose, 3 or 4 days of in and out testing, listening sessions. And I came to the conclusion that what I was hearing was just more definition between mid bass and low bass. So, but look, I'm going to be honest with you here. We're talking a few percent. I mean, it wasn't like a whole, like putting the Olva 100s underneath my Alexias. I mean, it was not a holy moly moment where all of a sudden, I heard this massive improvement in the presentation. So it wasn't that, but it was something. It was audible. I could hear it. And as I said, in the beginning, I wasn't sure whether I liked it or not. So then I went to the process of going, right, I'm just going to leave them in and I'm going to listen for a week of just with them in the system. So I did that and played all kinds of music that I like to play in my reference library. And then I took them out and I realized I liked what I was hearing when they were in. It took a while for me to become accustomed to what it was doing, what that grounding system was doing. I then moved them out to the speakers and I tried them in the speakers and I didn't really hear much difference at all. There was very, very little, if anything. So I'm not even going to say I heard any real improvement one way or the other or a degradation of the presentation. I just don't want to say I heard anything that I didn't hear, because it's all about me being honest here on this channel. And if I don't hear anything, I'll tell you I don't hear anything. So then in between all of that, and I mean, I did that for 3 or 4 days, in and out testing. And went, I'm not really hearing anything that's changing. So then I contacted Ian and Ian said to me, put it in your preamplifier. That's where I would go next. So I did as I was instructed and I put the Crystal E grounding system into my my preamplifier, and then I really did notice something had changed, and I sort of went, "Oh dear me, this is good. I actually like this." So again, my ears had become accustomed to these things being in and out. So I was getting an understanding of what I was hearing when they were in and when they were out. Then when I put them into the preamplifier, the sorts of things that I was noticing between the having them in and having them out was cymbals were the biggest thing. When I hear a cymbal crash, it's a strident thing. It's a high frequency splash. That's what a cymbal should sound like. But with the Crystal E grounding system in, cymbals became more listenable. There was more detail in the strike of the cymbal and the way that the resonances wash out of the cymbal and into the room. You were able to really hear that without it sounding bright, I'm just trying to give you some terms around what a lot of people would hear when they hear a cymbal being struck. It's a strident sound. So there was no less detail. There was just a more understanding of what that cymbal was doing as it resonated and washed away into the recording space. There was more definement around the vocal, especially in female singers. With female vocalists, I could really hear breaths being more clear. Now, this is a cleaning up of stuff that you don't know needs cleaning up until you hear it. That's what I think it comes down to. Definitely more, again, like there was on the amplifiers, more definition and understanding of mid bass and lower octave articulation. So you could hear a definite change. There was no blending of anything. And again, look, this system is pretty resolved. We're talking a few percentiles here, but like I've said in the past, and I'll keep saying it, we're all mad, us audiophiles. We are looking for that holy grail. We're always trying to find those next steps up in relation to, and it's part of the hobby that I think we all love and enjoy. So that was the sort of thing I was noticing. There was just more blackness when blackness was in the recording. There was things came out at you from nowhere with more definition. There was more placement focus of instruments and artists in the soundstage. Just that little bit of icing on top of the cake with the cherry on top of that. We're talking about those kind of things. I mean, these are tweaks. This is not something you need to have in your system. But when you get to a level where you've dealt with all the other things you want to deal with in your system and you've got to a level, then you experiment with this kind of stuff, because this is fun stuff to experiment with. It really is. Now, these aren't going to break the bank either. I mean, that is, again, a relative term. I obviously talked to Ian about price, but these are not crazy expensive things. And they're very compact, so they can fit around in your system on your rack, given the rack space is premium these days. We know that. Racks cost a lot of money, and these can sit in around things or on top of your components that you are grounding. I just noticed that little bit of extra, especially on the preamplifier, that I really enjoyed. I liked the changes that it made. So there was just, as I say, more of that clear focus. I don't want to keep saying a veil was removed, but there's really not a better term to use other than there was just a clarity without harshness. So everything just sounded that little bit more real in the presentation. As I said, my system at idle is silent, to my ears anyway. You'd probably have to be a dog to come in here to be tilting your head backwards and forwards if there was anything at all to hear. I've done a lot of the right processes to get a nice black background in the system. So you don't really hear a cleaning up of a hiss, of a hum, of an earth loop. That wasn't in my system to start with, so I can't talk to that. But what I can say is when these were in and they were out, there was just a more alive sounding presentation with them in, and I like that. So I think these are great. I came into this with skepticism, as I said at the start of this video. I was expecting not to hear anything, and that wasn't the case. I did hear a difference. We're not talking about a night and day difference. And look, this is certainly going to be system specific as well. Your system may find a massive improvement running these for what essentially is not a lot of money. You might have a system at my level where you just hear that 1 or 2% improvement. But on a system like mine, to be able to get those last couple of little percentiles of improvement or movement in an area you like, that's a win for me. So I like them, and I certainly think there's something in this, and it certainly has been well spoken of. This thing is winning awards. It comes out of Japan. They are a redesigned version that is really, really improved from the original, and I think they're worth investigating. I certainly was very impressed with what they did in my system, and again, coming from someone who didn't think I would hear anything. So as I said, I'll leave a link below in this video for you if you wish to contact Ian about inquiring about these or learning any more about them. But certainly my experience was a positive one. My experience was an improvement in my system, be it a couple of percentiles here and there in certain areas, but still what I heard I liked. So that's how I feel about them. It's been a great exercise. I've been playing around with them for about a month now, and I like them. So again, I'll leave a link below to have a chat to Ian at Lux Audio in Melbourne if you're in Australia, and Ian will be able to talk to you further about what's involved and how you can get hold of them. But thanks very much for watching. Love having you all on board. If you're enjoying this kind of stuff, please give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to the channel. I want to build the community that is an Aussie audiophile, and having your help to do that rather than just watching me. Subscribe to the channel and ask me any questions you like. I'm only always too happy to reply. I love talking to you all, and that will continue as I move forward with the channel. Heaps of exciting stuff coming up soon. We're going to do a big move around in this room very shortly, and bring the Wilson Watchdog Series 2 subwoofer in here. We will also be setting up the 4.11-inch arm that I have that has arrived. So that'll be getting set up on the turntable. We'll be going through that whole process as well. So some really big sonic improvements about to happen in here. I can't wait. I'm really excited. I hope you're excited to see it all happen as well. So until we talk again, it's bye for now.